Everyone, thank you for joining us today for our job readiness workshop in preparation for the Camo to Careers on the 23rd. We'd like to welcome Katie Duvall from Fox. She's going to be able to give us some feedback on maybe some of the best practices on being prepared for the upcoming Camo to Careers. And we will also have Dylan Streets, who is our veteran talent specialist here at Patriotic Hall. He will cover some of the best parameters of the actual job fair and how to prepare for that. Again, my name is Luis Crespo. I'm the Workforce Development Coordinator here at Patriotic Hall, where we provide supportive services and resources for employment. So with that being said, I'll just go ahead and hand it off to Dylan and Katie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Louise.
Sure. Appreciate it. Katie, again, like everybody said, thank you so much for being here today. We're really happy to have you, and hopefully, we'll get some really valuable insight into sort of conducting yourself at a job fair, some tips and tricks to keep in mind. Before we go ahead and dive in, would you mind sharing a little bit about maybe your background and, what you do, and maybe, how you were able to sort of get these tips and tricks, right? What experience you have that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Katie Duvall. I am the Director of Talent Acquisition at Fox Corporation, specifically for Fox Tech. And so I have an incredible team that works with me, and together we place all kinds of technology professionals, from web developers to systems architects to media and broadcast specialists to operations specialists, and all the positions in between. So that's what I'm doing now. But prior to that, if I think about my career, I actually went to school to be a teacher, and decided someone along the lines, one of my friends said, "Oh, you have it so easy. Teachers just get credentials and find their jobs right away. I have to do resumes and cover letters and go to job fairs and do all this stuff." And I said, I could do that. And this is over 20 years ago. And I hadn't taken a single business class. I didn't know anything about professionalism. I didn't know that I was supposed to have a resume that was cream or white or anything like that. I went to the local Kinko's and I made myself a bright pink resume because I thought it was pretty. And it was like the color of my lipstick. And I actually had to bold all of the print on it so you could even read it. And I walked into my first job fair and I was so nervous. And I'll never forget, I had like a navy blue suit that I bought like at a secondhand store. And I had like nylons and pumps. And I walked in with my pink resume and I went up to everybody and said, "My name's Katie. I could do whatever it is you need me to do. Anything. I can do it." And just like you're laughing right now, Dylan, the employers also laughed at me and instantly felt like they could talk to me. And because they laughed and I laughed, it sort of broke that fear, that it's so scary. It's just so scary walking into a room of strangers, especially about a job opportunity. And you don't even know what jobs are available. You're just introducing yourself to see what could be and what there is. And so there's no expectations on either the employer's part or the candidate's part of anybody knowing anything. So if you just come in with that naivete of being excited to be there and make all of your mistakes and just show yourself exactly as you are, whether it's with a pink resume, a white resume, or a cream resume, it doesn't matter at all. Even if it's just an application you could print offline and you fill that out, just showing up as you are will open that door. And that ended up opening a door to recruiting. And I got a job. They hired me, and I didn't know anything about technology. I didn't know anything about recruiting. I knew nothing about business. I just showed up with a smile and some goals. They said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, I really want to own a house in 5 years. I don't know how, but I really want to make enough money to own a house, and I'm willing to absolutely do anything to be able to make that happen. And they taught me about what the job was and the different jobs that were available. And I said, I think I could do that. And they said, all right, why don't you come in for an interview? They gave me an interview time. And that's when I went back, did my research, found out what was recruiting. And I found out that this was a perfect job for me because it was just matchmaking. And I ended up getting the position 25 years ago, and I've stayed in recruiting ever since. And it's been a great career. And I'm so grateful that I got dared, if you will, by a friend to show up to a career fair with however I was going to show up. And I did that, and I landed here. So that's a little bit about my story.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think you touched on some really, really great points there, just right off the rip. I think the first thing was just your transparency of saying, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of throwing myself into it and keep my fingers crossed, few Hail Marys, and hope for the best and just kind of see what happens. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people are at in terms of just job searching. I think by its nature, it's already kind of a complicated process with resumes and interviews and different applying to jobs and different application processes, hiring events, all these different things being different skills, but the beauty of that being that practice can make you better at all of them, right? And I think sometimes it is just throwing yourself into it and just rolling with the punches. And if you avoid getting hit, awesome. If you get hit a few times, then oh well, come back next time and just see what you can learn and see what you can do. I think that in terms of a couple points, just to start off, if anyone listening right now doesn't know really what a job fair is, or maybe you're not familiar with that term, or you've heard of it, but you have no idea what it is or what it entails. Just a quick definition: it's essentially an event where employers and recruiters meet with potential job seekers. These events provide a platform for companies to showcase their job opportunities, company culture, and recruitment needs. It's also really important to specify that job fairs really exist to the benefit of both the employer and the job seeker, right? So both parties are there to benefit. Employers are there to look for qualified candidates, and obviously job seekers are there for jobs. So I think if you have any notions that maybe you're going in there as a job seeker and the employers are only there and they really don't care to be there and they don't care to talk to you or learn about you or kind of figure out who you are and what you're looking for, that's not true. And Katie, maybe you can touch on that a little bit, but they're there to talk, they're there to discuss, they're there to find those people and to like you said, right? I mean, smile, have good conversations with people, laugh, and hopefully they can find some good people. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, what the expectation is for employers in terms of going into a job fair.
Yeah, let's talk about what it's really like. That's like the brochure version of what a career fair is. Like, really, what the career fair is you're going to walk in to a fancy hotel. You're going to go up an escalator. You're going to walk in down a hallway, and you're going to have a ton of nerves. And then you're going to walk into this big ballroom-ish conference room, and there's going to be a bunch of tables and some banners behind the table. And as the employers, we're lining up pens, we're lining up stickers, we're lining up anything that you can take with you to remind you of how great we are as a company, because we actually want you. We want you to engage with us. We want you to talk with us because we're there to increase our, diversity of thought, and veterans bring such great experience and great thought to the marketplace. And we want that. We crave that in all the positions. And as nervous as you are to walk in, and you're going to see all of these booths and people like me and my team sitting there staring at you because we're waiting for you to come up to us and want to talk to us. And we walked in 10 minutes before you, equally as nervous, thinking all the other employers were sizing us up, thinking our booth wasn't good enough, it wasn't shiny enough, it didn't have the right banner, it didn't have the right stickers, it didn't have the right pens. Will we be liked? Will they want to talk to us? Like, the nerves are a two-way street. It's like we are both wanting to impress each other. And it's like you can just sort of settle into that push your feet into the ground as you walk in and know that everybody is in that same spot. I think take a big exhale and just go up and be yourself to any of the tables. Everyone will welcome you.
That's another great point too, right? I mean, everyone there is nervous to some degree, right? Everyone's a little bit nervous to be meeting new people and to be talking and sharing those kinds of things. And I think that just going into a situation and knowing everyone is nervous helps take a little bit of the edge off, right? Everyone's on the same playing field, so to speak. In terms of preparing for a job fair, a couple things that I would say are a good idea to do, and Katie, you could give your feedback and share what you think. For me, in my opinion, first of all, getting a list of the companies that are going to be at a job fair, finding maybe some of the job openings that they have, or maybe learning a little bit about the different companies or their culture, what they do, and then maybe formulating a little bit of a battle plan and going into that. I know earlier you mentioned that, you kind of, you can go in and, like you said, go in and maybe not really know kind of what's going on. Just know this is what my objective is, and I'm here to do this. Do you find that you maybe are a little more partial to any potential or would-be applicants that come up to your table and say, hey, I'm interested in this position with you guys. This is my background. I know you guys. Let's say I know Fox does this, or you guys had that. Do you find that it's a little more appealing when they seem to have done their research ahead of time and know kind of what's going on?
So here's the research I would suggest. I would suggest looking at the company list, like you said, and then looking at what the company's values are. And that's it. And like understand what their values are and what their business is. I wouldn't look into the actual job positions. And that's counterintuitive to what you're going to hear from a lot of other people. Because the idea of a job fair is to just understand how the sink is and to understand what the possibilities are, to give the recruiter on the other side a glimpse into your personality and your soft skills and your story, and then hear how and then they're all recruiters for the most part. They can hear where you would best be suited and then talk to you about the different positions. So if you can understand, like Fox, when I have a candidate, someone come up to me and say, look, I am a former veteran. I have spent my life being of service. I hit a rough patch coming out of the service. I had some post-traumatic stress and even found myself on the streets for a time being, but I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I'm enrolled in all of these programs. I have a lot of transferable skills. I'm looking for a company that's as invested in creating opportunity as I am. And these are the things that I would like to do. That to me is someone that I am wanting to engage with and talk to, because they are telling me that they've had struggles, they've met adversity, and they have a story to tell. And that they realize that they may not have all the skills necessary for whatever job listings there are, but they have a story that has plenty of transferable things that are there to be used and understood. And that gives me like a moment as an employer to like settle back and be like, oh, great, tell me about your story. Tell me about it. Thank you for sharing that with me. Tell me about your experience. And then it's a tell me about the whole story, inclusive of the adversity you felt and dealt with as a veteran, and how you handled coming out of the service and the struggles that went along with that. That is far more than any candidate that just comes in and says, I've done this, and this is what you're looking for. And it's like, whoa, you're that's just the paper. What's behind the paper? And so if you're family members of a veteran, you felt adversity as having a veteran. A lot of single moms out there who are coming back into the workforce now, but had to deal with their significant other being away, and they had to balance this. I mean, that is way more of a benefit to an employer than working steadily for 5 years in a row. Taking off and having to balance everything is just insane. So I would rather have candidates prepare their story and be comfortable with their story by practicing it over the next 24 hours or however long until the career event with any family members that would listen. All the family members have to say is, tell me about yourself. Tell me your story. And just get comfortable with your story, the good and the bad of the story. Whatever the story is, it's yours and you can own it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a really great point. I mean, that personable side of it, right? Really trying to connect with someone on a more, I guess, human level, a person to person. Because again, these are, if they do get hired, these are people you're going to be working with, right? So you want to make sure, who is this person? What do they stand for? What's their story? Who are they about? Speaking of background, and I know you said, the work experience, this, and this. Now that we've touched on more of the personable side of it and sort of that character part of it, the resume is another big part of, obviously finding a job, applying. People can bring their resumes to job fairs. Some employers might accept resumes on the spot, some might not. A few questions. One, do you guys usually accept resumes on the spot? And if you do, or maybe if you have experience kind of looking at resumes and what to look for, do you have any pointers or any standards that you can suggest? I know your bright pink one seemed to work pretty well, but maybe if there's any other things you could suggest, and length, things like that you think would be good to know.
I'm not very good at saying the things I should say, so I'm just going to say the things that I think. And the truth is that everybody loves to hear themselves talk at these things. Everybody loves to hear themselves talk. I would bring a resume to ask for advice on the resume more than anything. I would bring multiple copies of a resume. I would bring like 20 copies of your resume. And every booth that you walk up to, I would be prepared to say a short version of what your story is and ask them about opportunities that are within their company and listen to what those opportunities are and listen for the things that are transferable in your experience. But then I would also take advantage of having these people there and say, what is the process for applying? And they're going to say, go online and apply online. And say, great, I'll do that. While I have you, would you be willing to look at my resume and give me advice on what you think? And bring out a clean copy and a pen and say, here it is. If it's too much for you, I completely understand. But if you have time and you're interested, I would love your professional opinion on my resume, and let them mark it up. You'll see that a lot of these tables aren't going to have lines of people behind them. They're going to have one or two people with 4 or 5 recruiters. There's plenty of time there to get some one-on-one advice. And you just take their notes and you engage with them, let them draw all over your resume. And then you have 20 different revisions that you then go home and you can make adjustments that fit you, that feel right for you, to then take that and apply online. So I would bring resumes, but I would bring those resumes and a pen so that they could be clean copies for each table you approach, to be able to get any feedback that they have on what your resume should or shouldn't look like. There's a million opinions out there on how resumes should look. And none of them will be bright pink, by the way. None of them will be. But there will be a lot of great feedback you'll get on a resume.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's really, really, great idea. And I think a lot of people going to a job fair would feel that wouldn't be something that occurs to them, is to sit, maybe ask for feedback, just straight up walking into employer, seeing what they think. Can I get your suggestions on this? And I think that says a lot about someone as an applicant too, right? To an employer, someone that's willing to get that feedback. And it shows that someone's trying to improve themselves, trying to grow. They're not afraid to hear that criticism and hear, okay, this is what you can do. That does says a lot about someone. In terms of walking up, I mean, even just before someone approaches your table, or maybe as they're approaching the table, and as they're having that conversation, A few things that I would suggest myself, to have is obviously confidence, good projection, eye contact while you're speaking to someone, be friendly, smile, maybe a firm handshake and things like that. Are there any sort of things along that line? Any other characteristics, maybe, some body language things that you would pick up on that may be a good idea for people to maybe practice or try to, be conscious of as they're talking to some employers?
I'm really not good at doing these sessions because I am so different. Like, honestly, you can Google and Chat GPT all of this, the answers to this on what you should and shouldn't do. But I'll tell you, like, 25 years of experience, I'm way more um, interested in talking to the candidate that walks up to me and goes, "Oh my gosh, this is so important to me. I'm so nervous right now, but I want to work for your company. I've watched Fox since I was little. I align with the values, I align with the company, and I'm not quite sure how I'd fit into your organization, but would you be willing to spend 10 minutes with me to try to help me figure that out?" And then I'd be like, "Yeah, I don't know where you'll fit into. I mean, look at Fox's, we've got 5 different brands. We've got Fox Entertainment, Fox Sports, Fox News, TV stations, and Tubi Media Group. Within those 5 brands, there are multiple divisions, there are multiple job functions, there are multiple, you couldn't possibly be prepared for any one job within Fox or to even understand Fox. Half the recruiters probably don't understand the entire organization. So just by going up and saying, "This is important to me, I have goals and they align with what I think Fox's goals are based on what I've researched, your values are, and can you just help me figure out how I could fit in? Here's where I've been. Here's my experience in the past, and this is what I've done. And what do you think?" And just have that open dialogue. I think actually when people come in and they just start talking with confidence and they just keep rattling and rattling and rattling and rattling and they don't breathe, and they're that rattle and they don't breathe. It's like there's not a fluid conversation, and it's hard to really remember Dylan when he leaves, when he walks away, when I've just gotten his resume verbally, and he's so confident, like, all right, Dylan's great. Dylan doesn't really need my help, like Dylan's going to apply online and another recruiter is going to talk to him and he'll probably get the job. Somebody came and said that it was important and they're nervous. I actually am probably going to give them my personal email address and say, "Reach out to me. Let's spend 15 minutes. Let me take a look. I'll connect you with the right recruiter and we'll see if we can make this happen for you." That's the end all be all of a career fair, just to make connection.
Gotcha. Okay, so, and again, to continue on the subject of things that maybe you notice or pick up on a person, dress is another really big thing for both job interviews and hiring fairs and things like that. When you're looking at people as they're walking to the table, as you're seeing sort of applicants walking around, are there any things I guess we could frame it as green flags or red flags in terms of how they're dressed or how they present themselves, like grooming standards and things like that? Is there anything that you could to suggest for people to kind of keep in mind as well?
Yeah, so I am 25 years in this industry, and every time I get dressed to go to the lot, I get nervous. And I'm like, what am I wearing the right thing? Is this outfit going to be okay? And my key is basics, black, white, tan, like not doing the pink resume thing, going back to like just be basic and comfortable. Don't think about, is this flattering? Does this fit right? Like, be comfortable. Make sure that you're dressed in business casual if possible, slacks and a shirt or a dress or whatever it is you're comfortable in, but that it's not something you feel like you have to fidget around in, or a button is might be popping. You're better off being in something big that is comfortable and fitting, and you just are just able to be yourself in, than you are having a new outfit you've never worn before and trying to act like the outfit. Let the outfit be an enhancement to you rather than you try to act like the outfit you're wearing. That's the thing.
Kate, it looks like you might have froze for a second, or maybe we lost you.
Uh-oh.
See
Am I here?
Yeah, we can hear. Okay, there you go. Now you're back.
I'm sorry.
You just
It's
froze for
my
a second.
probably
It's
my
okay.
internet. Yeah. So
It's all good. I
hopefully
think
you got
you
some
left.
of that.
Yeah, I think you left off on you left off on actually a really profound point. You said let the dress or the outfit enhance you. Don't try to be the outfit, right? Let it just be accentuate who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So in terms of, I mean, we know we got the points on the dress. We got the points of, talking, being personable. We got the points, a little bit about resumes and things like that. After the conversation is said and done, after everyone's made their rounds, in terms of follow up after the fact and maybe what to do after you leave the hiring event, do you, and any tips that we could suggest? Do you like to see veterans, shoot you an email and follow up, a day later, within a certain time later? Do you have any tips for veterans in terms of what to do after the job fair?
So here's what I would do. If I'm a veteran at a job fair and they're going to have you apply, can you hear me okay, Dylan? Still? Okay. And
Yep,
they're going
we
to
can hear
have you
perfect.
apply online. The one takeaway you want is to say, is it okay that I add you as my referral source so that if the whoever is doing the hiring can reach out to you and you could say that you've met me, and you've heard my story. And if they say, yeah, absolutely, great. And also ask them, is there anything you'd like to know more about me and my story to feel comfortable representing me, and saying that we've met to make me more memorable, but that is okay to say, and I would always make it your story. And remember, it's your story. It's not your qualifications, it's your story. It's the who you are and what you've been through and where you're going and what your goals are that make your story. So as long as you can convey that, ask them if it's okay to add them as the referral source in the online application. Um, it's great to say, can I follow up with you? But I'll tell you, in this market, I have 700 candidates that are um, applying to roles right now. It's super competitive and it's super frustrating for a recruiter who really does want to give everybody individual attention after this job fair, but they may not follow up with you. And it's not because you're not special and important to them, but like for me, if you're qualified to work as part of our um, shipping department, I'm in technology. So once I leave that career fair, I can give you my all. I can give you 100% of my advice, which is ultimately what you should be there for, is to get advice. Um, I can give you that while I'm there, but then I'm going to go back and I'm going to be focused on 100 other technology professionals. And if you're not a technology professional, it will be difficult for me to follow up. And that's just the true reality of the situation. But if you were to talk to me and you said, yeah, and I said, yeah, Dylan, put Katie Duvall on your application at Fox, that recruiter is going to see we are a small team of recruiters, and whoever's handling that shipping position will see Katie Duvall and she'll reach out to me. I'll look through my notes. I'm like, I'll look for it, connect on LinkedIn. That's the other thing. Get on LinkedIn, connect with the recruiter on LinkedIn, and I'll get on LinkedIn and I'll look at Dylan and I'll be like, oh, Dylan, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I met him at the career fair. He has a great story. Definitely, definitely, you should meet him. He's a veteran, or he's a family of veterans. He's dealt with things that probably many other people haven't. He's got adversity, high learning agility. He's definitely a candidate we would love to find a position for. That's what you want.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I think we got a question from Rashida in the chat here as well. It looks like she asked, if a veteran is struggling with being in a large group setting, what strategy would Katie recommend to get going, or to keep going, or to deal with being in that large group setting?
So I'll just share a strategy I have because I'm uncomfortable, believe it or not. Like I'm pretty outgoing and people think I'm rather direct, but I'm actually really nervous and I've got a lot of insecurities myself. And
As am
one of
I.
the yeah, one of the things that I do is I truly I like I practice, I push my feet into the ground. I know it sounds silly, but like I push my toes into my shoes into the ground and I like take an inhale and an exhale and it just brings me into my being and just remembering that I'm just another human and everybody wants a sense of belonging and purpose. And that is like I just that's all I want in this job fair is I just want to feel a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose. And these people are helping me on that journey in my profession. And then inhale, exhale in your body and do the contrary action of walking up to a table and say, just remember me. Remember me. Hi, my name's Katie. I can do whatever it is you want. I mean, it does not matter what comes out of your mouth at the end of the day, just that something came out of your mouth and that you actually showed up. And if you showed up and only talked to one booth, one person, then you should leave with some esteem from that career fair. That all it takes is just you're just going there for a little bit of esteem to keep on going in a very tough job market.
Yeah, I agree. Just showing up, talking to at least one person, just trying to put yourself out there, right? I'm just trying to put yourself out of your comfort zone, try to learn something, learn opportunities, but also learn a little bit more about yourself and really what you're capable of when you just kind of throw yourself in and see what you can do.
And I think just real quick, Dylan, too, I think that when you're job hunting, too many people think they have to appear to have all of the answers. And I actually think that asking for help is the thing that makes a candidate more endearing and more like more you want to facilitate their movement, right? And when they first walk into the career fair, the U.S. Vets has a great table with you guys sitting right there at that entry point, and it is 100%. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it is 100% okay for them to ask for help and U.S. Vets to walk them over to a booth and introduce them to one of us. Like, and that might ease their comfort. If they've got some stress disorder or they have something that they need a little more assistance with, that is 100%, I think, okay to ask for help and ask for an introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't think of anyone that would be there that wouldn't be open and willing to, walk with a veteran to a table, be the icebreaker, be the person to get the conversation going, make those introductions, because we get it. Like you said, everyone's nervous. We all, struggle. And usually once and maybe you could touch on this a little bit too, Katie, but just from my personal experience from being to job fairs and looking for jobs too, just after you have at least one conversation too, everything seems to kind of fall a little easier. You get into a rhythm a little bit and it gets easier and you start loosening up a little bit. So yeah, absolutely, that's a great point. We're there to help them, every step of the way. I think we're close to wrapping up. Is there any other tips or tricks or anything you could suggest? Any other maybe things you feel we should touch on a little bit or that we can add?
Just I can't reiterate enough the importance of coming with at least 20 resumes to ask for advice. Because even if you get nothing out of your mouth other than, you know what, you have, as a recruiter, I could really use your advice. Would you mind giving me some insight in your professional opinion? Um, there's not one person who's behind that table who wouldn't love to be, oh, I have a professional opinion. Yes, let me help you. Like that is like everybody loves to hear themselves talk, unfortunately. It's just the way that it is on either side of the table. So make sure to have that so that you can at least walk out with with a few scribbles on a resume for how you can better apply online.
Absolutely. And are you yourself, Katie, going to be at the event April 23rd, Camo to Careers, or will it be some other representatives from Fox?
No, there's 5 other representatives from Fox. They're all on our team, on my team. I won't because I'm actually traveling to New York for another event. But that team, I'll tell you, if you want a first booth to walk up to feel comfortable, you can walk up without a shadow of a doubt to the Fox booth and talk to Kelly or Nicole or any of them. They're great. They're great women who are more than open to help and give their input, and they have a lot of experience too.
That's great. Awesome. Well, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Reminder, Camo to Careers, April 23rd. Be there and go talk to Fox, the Fox table first, right? And get warmed up, and they'll be happy to help. And all right, well, thank you again so much, Katie. We really appreciate being here, and I've learned a lot. I mean, I'll remember these tips for the rest of my life for sure. And you said a lot of things that I didn't even occur to me to try to do at a job fair. So we really, really do appreciate you, and you're helping out a lot of veterans by sharing your insight like this. So we appreciate that.
My pleasure, and thanks to everyone for their service. It's the least I could do. To all the friends, family, veterans, it's an incredible honor to be able to be of any kind of assistance.
Awesome. All righty. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Katie, and I hope to see everyone there on April 23rd, Camo to Careers. And awesome. That should do it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Katie. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.